Up tempo. Here we go. And good evening, or well, good late midnight, and welcome to the Wait for Pits analysis from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and my good buddy Austin Williams from Sports Talk with Austin. I must say, we apologize for the unfortunate waiting that you've had to do for us. I mean, there was some technical difficulties going around, but thank goodness it's
We're
been
here now.
resolved. We're here now.
We're here now. We're going to make our picks like we intended. Might be a little later, but that's okay. Whoever said there was anything wrong with a little late night college football? I mean, I have no objection to it. I stayed up till 3 a.m. watching Colorado State. I got no problems staying up till 5 a.m. if we need to pick these games.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, now do me and Jackson want to stay up that late? Not really, but we will for you all because we love you. But we're here now. Everything's gonna be all right, and hopefully this was just the StreamYard's one mishap, and we'll be clear the rest of the way. But Jackson, on a better note, let's get it started, good buddy, and let's start on Friday night with
Oh, yeah.
Stanford traveling to Syracuse.
Yeah, because I gotta be honest, that game it's weird calling it a conference game still. I mean, it's like, oh no. But in all seriousness, though, Kyle McCord has been doing a tremendous job over at Syracuse. We saw the job they did against Georgia Tech. And as for Stanford, we don't really know what to make of them yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say, Jackson, like, I'm kind of like you. Like, we'll get to another game later on, but that's kind of weird to call a conference game. But like this one, Stanford Syracuse, that's kind of weird. Like, I'm thinking like this is Pac-12 ACC, but now it's all brand ACC. But it should be interesting because, like you said, Jackson, Kyle McCord, Ohio State threw him out, said he was no good. He couldn't win the big one, and here he is at Syracuse balling out. Got a big win over a ranked Georgia Tech team at the time. Syracuse is riding the momentum of Fran Brown. He seems like he's got things going. But Stanford, like you said, Jackson, that we got to see more from them. But Troy Taylor seems to be getting them going in the right direction too. This is a massive game on a Friday night.
Yup. And for me, I'm gonna say it's a Syracuse 34-21 win.
I will say, Jackson, this is in Syracuse. It's in the Dome. It's one of the harder places to play. I don't quite trust Stanford yet. I don't trust Syracuse either yet, but I trust Stanford even less, especially on the road. I'm going to go Syracuse to win 31-21. I think Syracuse will win by 10. They'll win comfortable at home.
Well, we got a really exciting game on Friday night, and this is the first ranked versus ranked matchup for Illinois since September 27th, 2008, where they went against Penn State. And this is going to be a wild one in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I got to be real, this should be the big noon kickoff instead of a particular game on, which we'll get to in a minute. I mean, this is going to be a wild one.
I will say, Jackson, it's weird seeing Nebraska ranked because for so many years they've been awful, they've been bad, and not all of it's been their fault. Coaching does cause a lot of it. You know, Scott Frost was a lot of the reason why Nebraska was down, but it seems now with Matt Rule, Dylan Raiola, the offense, the defense, Jackson. Now, their defense is playing some football, getting tons of sacks, tons of pressures. Now, a lot of that might be because, you know, they put some pretty bad offensive lines. But Nebraska is looking like a very, very good team and could contend in the Big Ten. And that's crazy to think. we'll have to see what they look like when they go play Ohio State. But as for the other side of the spectrum, Jackson, Illinois, this is kind of interesting because after they had that magical season in 2022, people wanted to see if Brent Bielema would back it up and continue to have the same exact success the next year, and then they end up missing a bowl game. And now here they are back again, ranked after a big win over Kansas, Luke Altmaier. This is a game, Jackson, where I don't know who to trust, to be honest with you, because both look like they're trending in the right direction, but they both also shown at times they're inconsistent.
Well, for me, I think I'm going to go Nebraska 28-17 over Illinois at home. I think Dylan Raiola can get the job done.
I don't know. This was a hard one for me to pick, but I think I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to go Nebraska at home, but close. I'm going to go Nebraska 26, Illinois 20.
That's fair. Oh, man. Somebody could get cursed on that game.
The CW on a Friday night.
We'll get to Arkansas-Auburn in just a little bit. Cannot believe you're on a big new kickoff, Ohio State, Marshall. I'm not going to waste breath on you.
Let me ask you this, though, Jackson. Is Marshall going to cover?
We'll see. It's going to be more like Ohio State 56-17. So, yes.
Yeah, because I think the point spread is like 40 at the moment. Like Ohio State's like expected to win by 40.
Yeah.
But like you said, Jack. Like you said, we don't need to waste any more breath on them. Go ahead,
but
good
North
buddy.
Carolina State, Clemson. I wonder if that's going to be a good one. I mean, unfortunately, Grayson McCall got hurt last Saturday, and I want to see if he'll be all right for Clemson, or if not, that's okay. He'll be able. Well, okay. CJ Bailey, kind of like how he took over against Louisiana Tech, he's going to be taking over against Clemson. So we're going to see what happens. Although this kind of feels like Clemson. This feels like a Clemson 28-17 victory.
Jackson, the thing that scares me about this is Clemson's at home. They're coming off a bye. And you're right. You know, this kind of feels like this should be a Clemson win because a lot of people believe NC State's not that good of a football team. And they have shown that there is possible that Grayson McCall is not the answer, that maybe quarterbacks for NC State are not the answer. But CJ Bailey is going to step into this spot. And who knows, Jackson, on the road, and it's a place that NC State hasn't won in almost 20 years. Is that
22 years? 22 years
22,
ago was
okay.
the last time NC State beat Clemson at Clemson.
So there is some history to this, but I really feel like, Jackson, NC State's going to have to run the ball, keep the ball away from Clemson. And if Clemson's offense shows up like they did in the App State game, they're going to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah.
But they're very inconsistent. But I'll take Clemson to continue their streak. I think Clemson at home, they're a hard team to beat, even if it is just a noon game. I think NC State's defense will play good in the first half. Second half, I think the dam will break. I'm going to go Clemson 27, NC State 13.
I couldn't agree more, Dave. It's like they complain about Michigan's non-con schedule. Well, Ohio State's got a pitiful one as well. Agreed. Stephen G says, as a Spinner fan, he needs Saturday to get here soon. Right on cue, because somebody's not ready for Saturday get here soon, and that's Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. I mean, they're ready. They're ready to just toss him out like Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Jackson, is the sun setting on Billy Napier's tenure at Florida?
Oh, yeah. It's not a matter of if, but when. Because, I mean, we look at his road record, it's just god awful. It's awful. I mean, 1-3 in 2022. And, we see he was 1-4 on the road in 2023. The Gators have not been exactly road warriors, if you will. So only 2 road wins for the Gators in his tenure. So that's bad. But here's the thing: you shouldn't be losing to Mississippi State, who looked pitiful against Toledo and Arizona State. Although they did try to make an effort coming back against Arizona State, but it wasn't enough.
I was about to say, Jackson, both these teams look pretty pitiful. Like, Jackson, this is a coin flip, but it's a coin flip of bad teams. Like, and that's, Jackson, I never thought I would hear out of my own 2 chicken lips I would call Florida State a bad football team. But here we are. Like, let me ask you this, Jackson, before you make your pick. If Billy Napier and Florida somehow win this game, does it cool his seat off any?
Oh man, I don't think it matters how Florida does against Mississippi State. They would have to make it a 63-10 victory for him to even stay.
And Stephen G said this is a please don't hurt your eye game. Yeah. Like, if you're sickos.
Clint Moses, I've got the names mixed up. I forget it was Jazz, not Carlton. Like, my brain is in 12 different places right now.
But the thing is, Jackson, if you're sickos like us who love college football, we'll watch this football game. Heck, we'll get out the iPad. We'll get out the iPad and watch it. But if you're someone who's a casual, this probably would be the best game for you to watch in the noon window. But both these teams look bad, Jackson. I'm going to say, you know what? Mississippi State at home, they're hard to beat. The Cowbells get going. I've lost all hope for Florida, Jackson. I'm sorry. But I'm going Mississippi State in an ugly, drag-them-out football game to win 20-17 at home. Give me Mississippi State 20-17.
Yeah, I think the Bulldogs win 21-17. I mean, if you're still sticking with Graham Mertz, Florida, that's why I'm saying it's going to be a loss for the Gators. I have no words for how disastrous this Florida team is. It's just, they're a living nightmare.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Jackson, the sun, I think, is setting on Billy Napier, Florida. Although, Jackson, you know what the sun is not setting on is Curt Cinetti and his tenure at Indiana. He's got them playing some football.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson, will there be a hangover?
No.
Will Charlotte?
No, he's making sure that it's going to be Indiana smacking Charlotte 52-14.
Because, Jackson, we know sometimes after a big win, that there could be hangovers. James Madison, North Carolina, and Chapel Hill. Is there
North
upset in
Carolina.
that one?
No.
Really?
Nope. North Carolina's gonna win.
Jackson, you're passing them up, but those could be upsets. We can't be too sure.
Well, no, not as important as these next two games. I mean, Houston Cincinnati's good, but it's not as good as this Nets one. But I mean, it involves your boy Scott Satterfield.
And Clint Moses says hungover after a big win, just drink another beer. Oh, Clint. Yeah, but I will say, Jackson, Houston, Cincinnati, these are the two basement dwellers of the Big 12. I don't think I'm out of line saying that. These are probably going to be the two teams at the bottom. Now, I will say Houston did keep it close against Oklahoma, but how much of that was actually Oklahoma not playing good football? As we know, Jackson, sometimes a team can look good against a team like Oklahoma if they're not playing good football, if they're just playing down to the competition. Or as you like to say, Jackson, trying to be a pigeon pooping on the porch because they think they're hot stuff. Or on the chest balcony. But Cincinnati, they should have beaten Pitt. They let a 27-6 lead go. Satterfield. Oh, gosh.
To me, two of the hot seat coaches in the Big 12 should be Joey McGuire and Scott Satterfield. Like, and I mean, I know that Neil Brown, I mean, I didn't name Neil Brown because, I mean, he's an obvious candidate, especially if things don't go a certain way in Morgantown. But I'm going to say Houston wins this one against Cincy 28-24.
Oh, okay. Houston with Willie Fritz, I would like to think they turned it around, but I also, Jackson, I think at Nippert Stadium, Cincinnati at home, I'll go opposite of you. I'll take one for the team. To avoid the picks and analysis curse. I'll go Cincinnati 24-20. I think they'll get it done at home in front of their Bearcat faithful.
Well, we got a good one. This is going to be a Big 12 battle between Kansas and West Virginia on ESPN2. And honestly, I feel like that should be on ESPN instead of Florida, Mississippi State, because I know Florida is a brand, as our buddy Only Talk Sports says, but I don't care. Florida's awful. This is not 20 years ago. You know, it's just not. We're not in 30 years ago anymore. This is pitiful, Florida. And plus, Kansas and West Virginia, the winner of this game is, well, I mean, they got more of a shot to get in the Big 12 title. I'm not saying they're getting in, but still, though, there's really no more room for error for both these schools.
See, Jackson, I like your logic, but there's one problem. Kansas and West Virginia are both 1-2, and they both. If one of them was undefeated, ESPN might consider it. But like Stephen G says, it's the SEC. The SEC is going to get priority over anything. That's why Georgia-Kentucky was the SEC night game opener for the conference. And Jackson, and I know you were not too happy, but look how that game turned out.
Yeah, I mean, that may just be like my Nets version of Raiders Chiefs from last year, where I was like, I'm not happy about this game being on Christmas Day, but they showed me.
But yeah, this is very interesting, Jackson, because I would have all the confidence in the world picking Kansas, but Jalen Daniels, he just does not look like himself. He doesn't look healthy. He doesn't look like like he's all there. But on the other side, Jackson, I don't have confidence picking in West Virginia either, because Jackson, this could be for Neil Brown's job. If they lose this, Jackson, if they lose this, we might be hearing, the same talks that we heard about Mike Norvell losing the locker room. We might start to hear that in Country Roads pretty soon. This is a gotta have it for both teams. And I feel like Jackson, the winner of this game, like you said, is just going to have a little more life than the other. But I will say, Jackson, it is in Country Road, and West Virginia at home has been particularly the better team. I'm sorry, Kansas, you've lost my faith. You look like a pitiful football team to me. I'm going Country Roads. I'm going West Virginia to save Neil Brown's job once again. I'm going West Virginia 33, Kansas 28. I think it's a shootout.
I think history repeats itself for Kansas as they win 31-28 against West Virginia.
Interesting. And Dave says Kansas was overrated. Ooh, Jackson, you were a big Kansas backer.
Yeah.
Now, would you like to respond to that?
It's September, not November.
Jackson, I know you're a big Kansas backer.
They're not Florida State, so.
Stephen G says West Virginia by 3. And Dave says 30-7 West Virginia. Woohoo! Wow. He's got Country Road spanking them.
I guess he's got Garrett Green getting the job done big time. Because, I mean, I'll tell you right now, I want to see. Because if West Virginia loses, they really have no more room for error. They're going to have to pull off upsets in October. I mean, October's rough enough as it is. Because they'll have to go to Oklahoma State to start off the month of October. They got Iowa State and Kansas State coming to their backyard. Then they got to go to Arizona to end the month. That's not a good thing if you're West Virginia. As for Kansas, they have it a little bit easier. They don't have Oklahoma State. They don't have Utah. Yes, they have to have Iowa State come to their backyard. They have to go to Kansas State. But I don't see TCU contending for a Big 12 title. That's just not happening. I don't see it. Arizona State, I need to see a little more of them, especially in just a little bit. Go away, Kentucky.
Ooh, Virginia, Coastal Carolina, Jackson. Ooh, that's an intriguing game. Or is Virginia gonna get upset? Coastal's got a nice home.
I think Virginia's gonna win 28-27.
Jackson, the thing that makes this game interesting is if Grayson McCall's still there, I'd be confident picking this upset. But something tells me this game, Jackson, could decide whether Virginia goes bowling or not. Because if they don't win this, it could look rough coming down the stretch in the ACC. I think this is a game they got to have. But you know what, Jackson? I'm going to pick Virginia, but it's going to be close. I'm going to go Virginia 26-24. They win it on a field goal.
Oh, there we go. There we got the big one on CBS. USC and Michigan. The first Big Ten conference game for the USC Trojans at the Big House. And, it's the first time since 1958 that USC has played at the Big House. So that's going to be cool right there. And
Jackson, I know this may give away my pick. I've lost all faith in Michigan. I'm sorry, I have. I can't trust them anymore. Like after what I saw them against Texas, I can't trust them anymore. Like Jackson, the way they looked pitiful. Like, and I'm sorry to all the Michigan fans that may be watching, but your team looked absolutely pitiful. And then against Arkansas State, you all looked not so good, especially Davis Warren. Like Jackson, he was throwing them free, threw them 3 picks, and almost cost them the game. Like, and Jackson, I won't. I'll let you say it because I know you love talking about the new quarterback for Michigan, but I hope whatever Michigan decides to do, it works out in their favor because their offense is not the Michigan offense that we remember.
well, I'm ready to see what Alex Orji will bring against USC. And as for Miller Moss, this kid has been tremendous. And I know that a lot of people have been asking quite a lot of questions about USC's defense. Is it for real? Is it a fluke? We're definitely going to learn quite a lot in the rest of September and throughout the start of October about USC's defense. Although I will say I'm loving what their defense brought against LSU in week 1. And I've been saying you better keep your DC and you better keep your new linebackers coach while you still can. Because one of these days, they're going to be hit up for a new job. I'm keeping D'Anton Lynn and Matt Entz as much as possible.
Yeah, Jackson. If Michigan had shown me the thing that worries me about this game, Jackson, is if you had asked me at the beginning of the year, who would I be favorite of this game? I would have told you Michigan because I would have been like, oh, Michigan, they've got the championship pedigree coming in. Donovan Edwards is coming back. Will Johnson, the defense, has got a lot of their players. There's some studs on that side of the ball. And then I see Michigan's quarterback playing. It's just like, oh, yikes. I guess that was one position they didn't recruit very well, or they thought they had figured out. Now it's like the shoe is flipped, Jackson. USC has shown us way more than I thought they'd ever did. Miller Moss, Jackson, I don't know how Lincoln Riley does it, but he's a freaking quarterback genius. I mean, just when you think he just finds these quarterbacks off the street and he can make them into something. Like, seriously. Like, Miller Moss, like you said, is playing fantastic. USC, like you said, their defense is playing good. And if they could be consistent, Jackson, they can. USC has a legit chance to go far.
Yeah.
This game is in the big house.
No. I think I'm gonna go with I'm going USC 31-20 over Michigan. That's right. That's what I said I was gonna go with on the Conquest Call-In show when I called in to Tim Prangley and Matt Zimick on USC at the Voice College Football. Because I mean, I really have a good feeling about USC's defense. I really do. And I'm excited about this game. It's going to be tremendous for all of college football. What do you think about your final score, Austin? What's it going to be?
Jackson, I think the atmosphere of the big house, I feel like it's going to test the USC offense. But Jackson, I think Michigan's defense will keep them in it. I think they'll force a couple mistakes, but I just don't trust their offense. They've got issues. I'm sorry, but USC's going to go into the big house, and I think they're going to win 24-10. I think they win by 2 touchdowns.
There we go.
I'm gonna go 24-10 Trojans.
Well, speaking of D'Anton Lynn leaving places, of course he left UCLA, and Oh, this game, that's gonna be scary right there.
Now,
LSU's gonna beat them.
Jackson, here's my question. Is this an LSU letdown game? Hear me out, because they played that exhausting game against South Carolina. College game day was there, and they had to squeak it out. Is this a game? Do you think they come back home and they're juiced and
No.
they're ready to play some more football? Or are you thinking UCLA might be able to keep it competitive?
LSU's gonna win this one. I mean,
Well,
even though I get irritated with LSU, I'm still kind of irritated with how UCLA has handled their whole thing from last year with Chip Kelly. And anybody that knows me knows how I feel about their athletic department. It's terrible and it's outrageously horrible. The disgrace to all of college athletics. The disaster is what it is.
yeah. Jackson, what LSU favored by 24.
Oh yeah.
I don't think LSU's going to cover. I think UCLA might be able to run the ball just a little bit, but I'm like you. I'll go 34-17. I think LSU's defense will give up 17 points.
You're nicer
What do you
than
think,
me.
Jackson?
You're nicer
You
than
think
me.
they'll cover?
You're nicer than me because I've got LSU winning 49-20 against UCLA.
Okay, you got them giving up more points than I do.
Yep. That's why you're nicer than I am. But there's your boys at
Jackson,
Louisville. Take it away.
Okay, so this game right here, I'm extremely nervous about. Like, I'm going to be dripping sweat by the time this game's over, win, lose, or draw. I get nervous for these type games because Georgia Tech, they're no longer considered the cupcake team in the ACC. They're no longer the team that you look at and say that's a win. And not to mention what waits us next week in South Bend. This could be a little look ahead game too. I'm extremely nervous. Like, and we're favored by 10, and that's a pretty steep line. I know we've looked good, but we've played cupcakes so far. So I kind of want to. I don't want to get out of hand and say we're going to win the ACC and then we're going to beat Alabama in a playoff game. But I don't want to go that far. Who knows, Jackson? We might beat Georgia.
I don't think anybody can do that.
Well, Alabama might. We'll get to that next week. But in all seriousness, though, what do you think, Jackson? Like, give me your thoughts on this game.
I think Louisville will win this one 28-24 in tight fashion.
You know what, Jackson? I don't like to do it, but I'm going to go Georgia Tech. I have a bad feeling. This is going to be a letdown game. I'm going to go Georgia Tech 20. I'm going to go Georgia Tech 30, Louisville 23. I think Haynes King has a big day, and he takes him on a game-winning drive down the field. I've got a bad feeling about this game.
I think Isaac Brown's going to make some magic against that Georgia Tech defense.
I hope you're right, Jackson, but I'm not. Oh, Lord. Talk about toss-up.
Oh, God.
Jackson, you've got Arkansas versus Auburn. Both Arkansas, who almost beat Oklahoma State, but they gave it away, and now Sam Pittman is now basically at a point where he's got to get some wins, or else he's going to get sent out on the next flight out.
Oh, he's gonna be
out
thrown
of
out like
Panther.
jazz. He's gonna be thrown
But then
out
you
like
got
jazz.
and then you got Auburn Jackson, who has an inconsistent problem of when they play lower competition, they like,
Good
eh,
God.
we might try, but then when it comes to Georgia, Alabama, they give everything they got. Like
Oh well,
Jackson, this is the epitome.
wait until you
Go
see
ahead.
what they do next week against Oklahoma when they come to Jordan Hare. I'm sure they'll bring their A game against them, but maybe not against Arkansas. Who knows?
That's the problem, Jackson. People want to know why. People want to know why that everyone is always picking on Auburn. This is why, because we can't ever be consistent and say, "Oh, Auburn's a great team." Like there was time, Jackson, when we considered Auburn elite with Alabama. We considered them elite of the elite. But now it's just like Auburn has fallen into they're a good football team and they're very good when they want to try. And Arkansas, like trying to get them back to their glory days is like trying to get your dog to take a bath. Oh Lord. I don't know who to pick in this game, Jackson. I might just flip a coin right here on air, and whatever lands on this game, I'm gonna
You
pick.
do what you gotta
team I'm
do, man. Me personally, I'm gonna shoot my shot with Arkansas one more time. And I'm gonna say Arkansas 31-24.
You know what, Jackson? Just so that we can flip it, I'll go Auburn at home. Jordan Hare, crowd's gonna be rocking. I'll go 31-24 Auburn.
Mhm.
Now, Jackson, I noticed you skipped over one. We got to talk about Notre Dame, good buddy.
Notre Dame, Miami, Ohio. They'll win this one. Oh wait, that's right. They choked against Northern Illinois, and they could probably choke again against Miami, Ohio.
Jackson, could they be playing look ahead to us next weekend?
God. Ugh.
Like, Jackson, you're already dreading it. Because, Jackson, picture this. We're going to come back Saturday night like we always do. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is Notre Dame choking again. I mean, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I know. It's like
What's the
28,
spread?
28 Notre Dame.
That's too steep. I'm sorry. That's too steep, Jackson. That's too steep.
Well, I really hope
Stevens.
I really hope Marcus Freeman's lighting a fire on their ass like he did last week.
And Stephen G says Miami, Ohio's bad. Well, we thought Northern Illinois wasn't a good football team either, and look what happened.
True.
But you know what, Jackson? I'll have faith in the Fighting Irish. I'll go 38-10.
Notre Dame 35-13.
Okay, Jackson, now take us to the game you wanted to. I just couldn't let you we couldn't pass that up, good buddy. Like, I'm sorry. We have to do our due diligence.
We got a better game in Blacksburg, Rutgers, and Virginia Tech. That's going to be a good one.
Okay, Jackson, you want to talk about disappointing. Virginia Tech. They were a team that got a lot of people's eyes after the way they finished the 2023 campaign. And Kyron Jones came in at quarterback. Brent Pry, they were on the verge of making the ACC title game because of the way they started in non-conference. They played this game last year against Rutgers and almost won. Now they're coming to Blacksburg. They're entering the Sandman. But Jackson, we cannot underestimate the job that Greg Schiano has done at Rutgers, making them a good football program where they're making bowls consistently.
I mean, it's no surprise that Grace Jones doing a terrific job at Rutgers because, I mean, they are now one of the 9 undefeated teams in the Big Ten. That's huge right there. I mean, Stephen G thinks it's going to be a butt whooping for Rutgers, but I mean, I don't know. But I mean, I think it's going to be a tight one. Rutgers could be caught looking ahead to Washington. So,
well, and
you
the
know
thing
what?
too is, before you make your pick, Jackson, I do want to point this out. If Rutgers wins this, it's all in front of them because I don't know if anybody's looked, but they have one of the easiest schedules remaining within the Big Ten. So if Rutgers finds their way out of this game, Rutgers, and this is no joke. I'm not trying to be funny, haha. If Rutgers could somehow run the table, Rutgers could win the Big Ten and be in the Big Ten title game. Their schedule's that bad. They've got one of the easiest schedules along with Iowa. I want to make sure everyone understands. I'm not predicting Rutgers to go to the Big Ten title game. Now, I'm just saying they have a really good chance if they make it out of this game. Even though it has no impact in conference, it could have an impact on where they land at the bowl as well. But
Oh, yeah.
Jackson, I know you've had your doubts about Brent Pry, Virginia Tech. Are those doubts still in your head, or is he the man?
Huh. You know what? I'm going to see if Virginia Tech gets the job done with a 24-21 victory. A point just over the total spread over under. Oh, yeah. Indiana's
And Dave, I was about to say, the Big Ten really did Rutgers, Indiana, and Iowa for the most part. They really did them favors. I don't. Dave, maybe you need to call up the Big Ten commissioner and tell him to help out Minnesota so PJ Fleck can roll the boat again. Lord have mercy. You know what, Jackson? Who'd you pick?
Virginia Tech to win 24-21.
This game's in Blacksburg. I really want to believe in Rutgers, though. I really do. What's the spread again, Jackson?
Rutgers is a 3.5 underdog.
Oh, you know what, Jackson? I'll be like you. Give me Virginia Tech at home. The crowd, Hokie Nation's going to be rocking for the game. I'm going to go in a slugfest. 16-13. Virginia Tech wins in a slugfest.
Nice. Well, we got Arizona State and Texas Tech. And Arizona State's first conference game in the Big 12. And what are we looking at from Texas Tech exactly? They don't seem all that impressive so far.
Jackson, their defense is bad. Their defense is bad.
It's terrible.
And Jackson, you want to talk about teams, coaches that might be on the hot seat? Joey McGuire. Jackson, his seat could be getting pretty warm here in a minute if they don't find a way to win some games.
Oh, he better.
I know it's Texas.
He better.
But as for Arizona State, though, Jackson, I'm loving what Kenny Dillingham has done, being able to turn it around after his first bad year, and I'm glad Arizona State has patience with him. They're like, you know what? Let's give you some time. Let's give you a chance to build this team up. And here they are. Jackson, 3-0 to start the year. But let's be honest, Jackson, they played some bad football teams too. They're not the hardest schedule to run through. as we found out, Jackson, Mississippi State might not be all that good. Texas State, that's a decent win. And then, obviously, their win against who they beat? Wyoming. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember all these. And Jackson, we found out Wyoming is becoming dumpy all of a sudden.
Oh, they're horrible.
Texas Tech, Jackson, almost losing to Abilene Christian. Lord have mercy.
They are living off the Mike Leach era. That's all they really have. I mean, otherwise, Texas Tech really has nothing. I mean, without Mike Leach, Texas Tech would be in the same boat as Oregon State, Washington State. No offense to Oregon State Nation when I say that. I honestly, yes, we did. We did pick the USC Michigan game, Trojan Fight.
Trojan Fight, we both went with USC. So you'll be very pleased to hear that. Yep. We're not believing in Michigan anymore. But as for this game, though, Jackson, why do I get the feeling, Jackson, this game's in Lubbock? Why do I have a feeling Texas Tech is going to show up in this game?
It's
I have a funny
weird.
Jackson, I have a funny feeling they're going to be at home in Lubbock, Arizona State. You know what, Jackson? Call me crazy, call me nuts, call me Fruit Loops. I'm going Texas Tech at home. I'm going Texas Tech 42-38.
Not so fast, my friend. It's going to be Arizona State 38-35 on the road.
Okay. I like it. We pick different. Memphis Navy could be fun, Jackson. You think the triple option upset coming? High off the Florida State win, or Memphis keep it rolling?
Nah, Memphis keeps it rolling with a 38-24 victory. They'll smoke Navy.
Okay. I'll go 42-6.
There we go. And we got Utah, Oklahoma State at Boone Pickens Stadium, the top-notch Big 12 game on Fox, which is unfortunately not a big noon kickoff game, but I mean, oh well, you get what you get, you don't both fit. So,
Jackson, I've had so much trouble picking this game. Like, Jackson, I almost just don't want to say nothing because the reports have come out that Cam Rising is expected to play. And here's the thing. Here's the problem. And Trojan Fight says Rising is back. Yes.
But
how healthy is he going to be? How healthy is he going to be? Because if we get the Cam Rising that's healthy, I would pick Utah all day long. But I don't know how healthy he's going to be. And the fact is, Jackson, I can't trust Oklahoma State either. I know you love you some Ollie Gordon, but Alan Bowman sometimes gets Alan Bowman still gets a little too turnover happy for my liking.
Oh, you're right, Jackson. I mean, it's like it was like watching the Titans without Derrick Henry. Without Derrick Henry, they fell apart. Oklahoma State without Ollie Gordon, they're screwed. I mean, we saw how Ollie Gordon saved the day like it was freaking Mighty Mouse against Arkansas. So, bam.
Well, that's the thing, too. This is what makes it really, really hard, Jackson, because Cam Rising is expected to play, but they could say come Saturday, oh, we're going to sit him out. That's what makes this game extremely, extremely hard to pick. And plus, Utah on the road has struggled in years past. Oklahoma State at home, they're a very good football team. And this is the Big 12 opener for both teams. This is Utah's. What a way for Utah to open up their Big 12 slate, Jackson, with one of the better teams. They didn't give them a cupcake like Cincinnati or Houston. They're like, you know what? Go play Oklahoma State. Let's see how good you truly are. Let's see if you belong in our conference. They're like, thanks, we couldn't get a cupcake. But and Trojan fight is Utah's defense still good. Utah State put up 21 points against them. Their defense is still pretty solid. They're still pretty pesky. I think a lot of that was because of their quarterback, Isaac Wilson. He threw a pick and it set them up in good field position. I think they got one touchdown off a punt return. I think most of it wasn't on the defense from what I watched. But go ahead, Jackson. What are your thoughts on this game? Give us some in-depth analysis. Talk me into picking a winner here.
I mean, I like what Gordon can bring on offense, but I mean, they've got an O-line that's protected them from getting sacked. They haven't had a single sack on their QB all year so far. But I mean, they've had a pretty easy slate, so there's that. And I got a huge laugh from Coach Gundy the other day where he's like, he brought the wrong guy pecans. He should have gotten the guy who was making the schedules for the Big 12 all the pecans. So that was a huge laugh. But honestly, I think I'm going to go Oklahoma State.
Hold on, Jackson. Before you pick, good buddy, do we know the status as it sits today? Do we know the status of so if Cam Rising was 100% healthy, would you pick Utah?
Oh, if he was 100% healthy, yes. Yes, I would. But the problem is, if we're constantly talking about if all I'm hearing about is Cam Rising's health, he's not very healthy, I don't think. So I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State 35-28.
And Stephen G says Coach Witt versus Coach Gundy is an amazing coach versus coach battle. It is. I'll be kind of interested because they're kind of two old heads. This is in Stillwater. You know what, Jackson? Who's favored? Scroll back up for me, please.
Oklahoma
Who's favored?
State. 2.5.
By 2.5. Okay, so even Vegas is telling us, even if Rising isn't healthy, they still think Utah is really close. You know what, Jackson? I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick Utah. I'm gonna trust that Kyle Whittingham's gonna find a way to win this game. I feel like just like last year against USC, when no one gave them a chance, they came out with that W. I'm gonna say they do it again and they open up Big 12 play with a victory. I'm gonna go 23-21. Utah. The Utes win it 23-21.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And Missouri will beat Vanderbilt 38-14.
Yeah, Missouri's probably going to have a field day with that. You had your moment, Vandy. I'll go 37-3.
Yep. Well, we got a great one on the CW after the latest rerun of what are the shows on the CW again? I usually don't watch that network unless there's college football on there.
Let's see, Jackson. Sometimes they show Vampire Diaries. They do the new Charmed.
Yeah, that's not the kind of shit I watch. That's not the kind of shit I watch. Sorry.
Oh, Friday Night Lights. Sometimes they'll have wrestling on there. Just depends on what the night is.
Yeah, I ain't watching Charmed. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not charmed enough by that. But I am charmed enough to watch TCU SMU, the 2024 edition of the Iron Skillet on the CW.
And Jackson, you want to know something? You know, a lot of people probably will sleep on this game because it's not a rivalry that's on somebody's radar. But Jackson, this is a very underrated rivalry. It has produced some of the best games I've ever watched in my lifetime. Like, I'll be honest with you. I've come home and I'll turn the TV on and it'll be SMU, TCU, and they'll be slugging it out. And even though I know the bigger games on the other channel, I want to stick and watch the Iron Skillet. But
Yeah,
I will
because
say,
I mean, like, beyond 2025, we really don't know the state of this rivalry yet. Like, we don't know what's happening beyond 2025. We hope it will stay on as an annual matchup. But go ahead with your point.
I was gonna say, Jackson, this is very interesting because TCU's coming off of a heartbreaking defeat at the end where they missed that field goal and they were up 28-7. Ay, ay, ay. What is it with these Big 12 teams blowing leads? Ay, ay, ay. And then you got SMU, who had a bad loss to BYU. Bad. And then, they bench Preston Stone. Their backup quarterback couldn't. BYU went on a long drive, kicked the game-winning field goal. SMU hasn't quite looked like we thought they would. Jackson, this is kind of the game of the men. Just like men. Neither team is like bad, but neither team is good either. They're men. They're so-so. And that's what makes this rivalry even more interesting. See who's less men. You're on mute, Jackson. You muted yourself, good buddy.
I'm going to take my chances with SMU and say 28-27.
And Clint brings up a great point. TCU squeaked by Stanford. Yeah.
Yeah, Stanford blew
You know
it.
what?
You blew it. You had it on, you blew it.
You know what, Jackson? If this game was in TCU, I would pick the Frogs. But you know what? I'm going to be like Clint Moses, hashtag pony up Dallas. I'm going to go SMU off a bye. I think TCU had their heart ripped out. I think SMU gets the job done 38-35 in a shootout.
There we go. And then we
And
got
Stephen G
wants
to know where
which game is it? SMU TCU? Because that's at
Yes.
SMU. That's why it's on CW.
And Dave says, don't they also play the Cotton Bowl?
I'm afraid not.
I don't.
I feel like the Cotton Bowl stadium is not used
Texas
anymore.
Is it Texas, Oklahoma?
Yeah, unfortunately, Texas, Oklahoma is the only one that is used for the Cotton Bowl stadium. I think honestly they need to like put the Cotton Bowl back in the Cotton Bowl instead of just like having it at the Jerry Dome. But I mean, that's another time for another day because I mean we got important business such as Miami, South Florida on ESPN. Is Miami gonna let this game be a trap for them?
Jackson, I feel like and I want to say this, but I feel like Miami's legit. The U's actually coming back. I feel like Cam Ward has finally put the piece back to, like, that was the one thing that they needed to get this team right. And South Florida, Jackson, they gave your Crimson Tide a scare. But
that's what I'm afraid of.
But I will say, like Stephen G, I think Miami rolls. I think they watched what happened with Alabama and they're like, okay, we're not going to take you lightly. I think they're going to be ready to play. I'm going to go 38-10. I think they roll big. Cam Ward has a big day through the air.
You're more confident in Miami than I am. I've seen the history of Mario Cristobal anytime his teams have had a game that they shouldn't lose or a game that they shouldn't have a close game in. I'm gonna say Miami 28-17. They pull it out in the fourth quarter.
Okay. But this next game, Jackson, on FS1, it's the Purple Rain game.
I still can't believe that's a conference game. Like I'm still kind of getting used to it, but it's pretty fun all the same. As you know, we see Washington's first conference game in the Big Ten be against Northwestern. That is pretty cool.
The Purple Rain game, Jackson. The Purple Rain game, as it's been named, because both teams are purple. But this is very interesting, Jackson. Northwestern, you know, they're 2-1. Their only loss was to Duke. Washington coming off that Apple Cup rivalry loss, which if you don't have the Peacock app,
that's okay. We'll watch it for you.
You missed a good game. Jackson, do you think Northwestern is the same? Or do you think last year had some magic dust on it, so to speak?
Last
and the
year
magic's kind of worn off.
Last year had magic dust for Northwestern. But I think Washington will win this one in a 28-13 fashion against Northwestern.
I think they'll play them tough. I don't think this will be a runaway, but I think as long as Will Rogers doesn't throw any dang turnovers. Oh, we're going to talk about this game, Jackson. You're going to get me started. I'm about ready to have another temper tantrum here. Anyway, I got to get back. Jackson threw me off kilter. As soon as I see Florida State, I get angry.
I know, right?
I'm sick tired of them.
They get everybody. They get all of us mad. They get all of us mad. I mean, I'm going to go as far as to compare 2024 Florida State to 2007 Notre Dame. I know that sounds like overkill, but still, though, they're that bad.
But before I get into my rant about them, who's favored? Washington's favored big, right?
Oh, yeah, by 10.5.
Okay. I think if it was at Northwestern, I could see an upset, but coming off a loss, I'll go 28-18 Washington. But now on Florida State. Jackson, let me cook for a minute, because let me cook. You put Florida State back up there. I got some choice words for them son of a guns. Florida State, I'm sick and tired of you embarrassing our conference. You want to act like you're the champions of our conference and act like you're the freaking dang pigeons pooping on the dang porch. That's fine. But act like a freaking champion, okay? Like, listen, you're playing Cal, right? Take them seriously. They're no longer Jay Knott. He's a heck of a running back. Like Florida State, I'm tired of you saying, we're going to leave you. We're going to leave you. We're going to leave you, ACC. You need us. Well, guess what? We don't need you. You just go over there to the Big Ten. And when you get bludgeoned by Ohio State twice a year, if you're lucky, I don't want to hear you cry and complain, okay? Mike Norvell, get your kids together because they're embarrassing the conference. They're making us look bad. And you're making college football as a whole look bad. Florida State, you claim to be a blue blood, right? You claim to say that you're on the level of level of all these teams, well, guess what? The way you're acting, you're not acting like it. Florida State, get it done. You're at home. Like, if the last 3 games haven't woken your butt up, wake the heck up. It's time to play football. Come on, Florida State. Sick and tired of having to rant on you.
I got a
Like,
feeling we're
freaking
gonna be
ridiculous,
ranting on
Jackson.
them. We're probably gonna be taking turns ranting on them for God knows how many more weeks. Then we're gonna lose the energy on them.
Like, Jackson, you know, go ahead, Jackson. Go ahead. They just get me mad.
I think you know what home field advantage doesn't do anything for Florida State. Obviously, I'm gonna go with Cal in a 24-21 victory. Clint Moses puts it perfectly. DJU is cheeks.
And he said,
Are you talking
LOL,
about like
are we thinking
Are you talking about? Is he talking about like these cheats, or is he talking about like butt cheats or something?
Trojan fight? Me and Jackson have had this conversation multiple times over the past 3 weeks. Jackson's been on the fence of saying, like they went 12-1 and won the ACC. Let's calm down. I'm starting to think if it gets too out of hand, it could be like in Jackson and for Trojan fight. I told Jackson we all seen it. How the reports came out about Norvell's losing the locker room. They've lost faith in him. And Jackson tried to tell me, God rest his soul, he was like, that's just horse dung. They were like, they're just trying to stir up dust because they got nothing better to do. And Jackson, we now see it. Looks like those rumors are coming true right in front of our face. Mike Norvell is losing the locker room as we know it. If he doesn't win this game, Jackson, his seat's on fire.
Yeah.
Like, I will go as far as say this is for his job Saturday.
Oh, wow.
I really do. Because Jackson, Florida State ain't going to be liking this going 0-4. Like, this is for his job Saturday, in my opinion. Like, if they don't put a win on the board and they're thinking, really, we can't even beat Cal? That's how far low we've stooped? No offense, Pac-12, but we all know Cal's not the greatest. But you know what, Jackson? I hate doing this to myself. Florida State, for the love of everything that is holy, for the Holy Trinity, Florida State, can you show up and play some actual football Saturday? Please, for the Holy Trinity and the Spirit above us, can you please play some football? I'm going to pick Florida State one more time. Florida State wins a slugfest 27-24 at home. Come on, Florida State. Don't let me down. I'm going to regret that. I feel it. Well, what's our next game, Jackson?
I hope you don't for your sake. Oh, we got Nico Lima-Leva going up against Action Jackson Arnold in Norman, Oklahoma, in Oklahoma's first conference game in the SEC era. Oh, yeah, but yeah, they keep asking about that guy. Yeah, chats want the, oh, there it is. Stephen G wanted to know about the curse of the guy that was wanting to set. They were saying, "Oh well, if Florida State loses to BC, I'm gonna eat dog poop in a red Solo cup." I think he's been hiding since then, which I'm just like, I don't even want to know what he's up to. It's like, don't be doing that,
Jackson. This is gonna be interesting, Jackson. Tennessee, Oklahoma. It's Saturday night primetime. Kurt Herbstreit will be there. College Game Day's going to be in the house. Nick Saban's going to Norman.
Will be there.
Jackson, I will say though, part of me wants to believe in Oklahoma with Brent Venables, but part of me sees how dominant Tennessee's looking. But, like, Jackson, I know part of you is hoping Tennessee loses this game so ESPN will hush. Because, Jackson, we all know if Tennessee finds a way to win this game, ESPN is going to be saying that they're the next Alabama. They're going to turn it into that.
I don't think they'll go that far, but I think Tennessee will win this game in a 35-24 victory.
Well, Jackson, where's the analysis, Jackson? Break it down to us, good buddy. Hold up.
One thing at a time. I know that. Well, I just have this great feeling that the Vols are going to get it done against Oklahoma. And, it's going to be the first time since Josh Heupel returns to Norman, Oklahoma, since he got fired as OC. That's a huge storyline right there. And I think it was a blessing in disguise for him because because he's been doing so great since then. He did great at Central Florida. He's doing fantastic at Tennessee. And, it's going to be fun seeing what happens for the Volunteers and the Oklahoma Sooners. I mean, I know Oklahoma looked sloppy against Houston, but I think they did just fine against Tulane. But I'd like to see Oklahoma win it, but I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, the thing about this game, Jackson, is Jackson Arnold in that offense, they look very sloppy. And Tennessee's defense, that Pierce Jr., he's a stud on the edge. Jackson, he's in the running to be one of the best defensive players in all of the sport. Like, him and Travis Hunter are probably the two best. You can make an argument he's the best player in college football, being Pierce Jr. And Tennessee's defense has gotten better, but like you said, this has turned into a bit of a boiling rivalry because Josh Heupel has played quarterback there. They used to love him, but now he's with Tennessee trying to bring them back to the heights that they once were. This is in Norman, and Oklahoma does play really, really good at home, but Tennessee's scoring a lot of points. This will be their first big opponent. We all thought NC State was going to be a good opponent, but NC State turned out not being such a good opponent either. I'm like you, Jackson. I don't want to pick Tennessee. I want to see Oklahoma win, but Tennessee's offense is just putting up too many points. Their defense is playing too good. I don't trust Oklahoma's offense. I'm going to go Tennessee to win 29-15. 29-15 Tennessee wins and kind of a scoregami.
I think we're going to see Tennessee win this one 35-24 against Oklahoma. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the big revenge game on NBC in the Florida Rosedale between Iowa and Minnesota. Holy Toledo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know
Jackson,
Minnesota's produced 2 shutouts in a row, but I mean, Rhode Island, Nevada are not somebody to flats. As for Iowa, they scored huge points against Troy, but I mean, they're supposed to. And they scored huge points in their first game of the season. I mean, they're supposed to.
Jackson, it's going to be on NBC.
There we
and
go.
It's going to be on Big Ten Saturday night. Big Ten Saturday night. Okay, I'm done now. I have Jackson. That's just such a great entrance. But like you said, this is already a rivalry game. But after what happened last year, this just got turned up to an extra notch. The blood's going to be boiling. This is going to be physical. This is going to be brutal. I expect Jackson. I would say like Iowa's not going to score many points in this game. And I want you to understand, Jackson, I think we could give them a pass on this game if they only score 10 points because it is a rivalry game.
True.
I know, Jackson, you might throw a hissy fit, but you have to understand it's a rivalry game. These things happen. But PJ Fleck, Jackson, I will say this. I've made a lot of bold predictions, and I probably said a lot of stupid things I shouldn't have tonight. But if Minnesota doesn't win this game, PJ Fleck's boat might have just sunk
Yeah.
on Sunday morning. That's how important this game is.
Well, I'm gonna say
You know what,
I
Jackson?
will.
Jack, I'll pick first on this one since you've had to do the picking on a lot of the bigger ones. I'll pick first. You know what? I know Dave's watching. You know what, Dave? I'm going to go. I think you're not going to like this score, but I'm going to go Iowa 12, Minnesota 3. I'm going to go 12-3 Iowa.
Reluctantly, I got to go with Iowa, and I think it's going to be 13-10 for the Hawkeyes.
So we're both picking Iowa. No upset today.
If this game goes over 35.5, I'll be shocked, honestly. I mean, I know both these teams have scored more than 20 points in two of their victories, but still, though. They played Pittsburgh in 2008, 2011, 2014, and 2015. Trojan Fight did say nobody could name a game that Iowa non-conference game Iowa's played in the last 20 years outside of yearly in-state rival Iowa State. I mean, I just figured it might be a little fun challenge. Oh, we got a good one. Michigan State, Boston College. That'd be a good one. Thomas Castellanos going up against Aiden Childs and Nick Marsh.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game because we haven't really seen Michigan State play their best, Jackson. Not yet. Excuse me.
No excuse.
And for Jonathan Smith's sake, this is a big time game for him to win. If he can win this game, it'll really cement that Michigan State's going places. But as we know, Jackson, Bill O'Brien almost pulled off the upset against number 6 Missouri, and they beat a pitiful Florida State team opening weekend. This is at home. And Jackson, did you see this was the bandana game?
Oh, yeah, I think so. That was pretty huge.
And Jackson, it's when Boston College does the bandana game, for anyone that's new to that, I believe it's for the kids with cancer in the Boston College area. Is that what it's for, Jackson? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh man, that's pretty nice that they're doing something a little nice for the kids. I like that. It's their 11th annual, and they're honoring BC alum and 9/11 hero Wells Carltho, who died in the attack, and he's known to survivors as the man in the red bandana, who is credited with saving at least 12 people in the South Tower of the World Trade Center.
Okay, so it's to honor a fallen victim. Okay. I knew it was for a good cause because they do it against whatever big opponent. So they did it against Clemson one year because you remember, Jackson? College Game Day went there one year for that game.
Yeah.
And I believe they played Florida State in that game last year, correct? Was that their red bandana game?
Think so.
And Clint Moses asks, is Aiden Childs healthy? What's his status, Jackson, as of this moment? I didn't
There's
even know he was
nothing.
hurt.
I didn't either. But he seems to be doing all right for now.
Maybe we need a picks and analysis fact check. Did something come up that we didn't realize?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Jackson, you're the man with Google.
Well, it doesn't say anything about him being hurt. So there's nothing.
Well, Jackson, at least you're getting paid double to do that. At least.
Yeah.
But the spread is Boston College by 4.5. So even Vegas is thinking this is going to be pretty competitive all the way to the end. You know what, Jackson? This is the red bandana game. I think Boston College thrives. Their environment is going to be emotional. I just don't think Michigan State is ready for these type games just yet. I'm going to go BC 31-13.
I think Boston College is going to win 24-21 against Michigan State. But I will say, though, I really like how Aiden Childs treats, his teammates. I like how he's, putting up on a pedestal, even when some people are like, no, he really thinks his wide receivers are the best in the country. I mean, he's overhyping them. I love it when he does that with his teammates. When he says, "Oh, he's the best in the game." Unlike this Nets quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, who whines and cries and complains at his offensive line, and then he goes, "I go through everything because of my offensive line." It's like, yeah, your attitude sucks, Shedeur. You've been spoiled.
Jackson, you did see after the Colorado State win, they brought the whole offensive line in the room for the media scrum, right? You did see that.
Oh, yeah.
And he apologized right in front of the media and everything. He was like, "I'm sorry, that was unbecoming." And he basically said, "I invited them all here." And Coach Prime was even singing their praises, saying, "That's how you're supposed to block."
Well, I hope he actually meant that and didn't do it just to kiss butt.
Now, see, Jackson, that's what rubs me the wrong way. Is the media gives Deion Sanders a bad name. Like Deion Sanders is trying to make sure these men are ready for life and making sure they're ready to play football. I think the media kind of overdoes it. And I know I'm a primetime Sanders defender, but I really do think his heart's in a good place. But I do agree with you, Jackson. His son is a little spoiled sometimes, yes. I agree. He could be a little spoiled, like we all are, Jackson. I think we all have our moments where we're a little spoiled.
Yeah, but we're not spoiled like he is.
Like, and the chat is saying they want Baylor to win, and Baylor wins big. Okay. Well, Jackson, it's I will say for Baylor, though, this is a big game because, Jackson, Dave Aranda needs a big win under his belt because I know we've had a lot of coaches we've talked about tonight about their seat getting a little hot. Dave Aranda's seat is blistering.
Yeah.
Like, Jackson, isn't it crazy? Jackson, isn't it crazy that there's a lot of coaches already on the hot seat and we're only 4 weeks in? Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it's crazy. That's how it goes, man. I mean, it's super crazy.
And Clint Moses said Aranda's a defensive-minded. KU's offense is symptomatic. The thing is, though, here's the thing, Clint Moses. the thing is I will say this: Colorado probably has the best trio of wide receivers in sport today. I would even make a case that they have better ones than Ohio State, because you've got Weber, you've got Horn, you've got Hunter, and you've got Webster, and they all four have the ability to go for 100 yards and 2 tutties at any time. But the thing that worries me is, like Clint says, is their running game. They need a bit better running game. And their offensive line comes and goes. Hence why Shedeur gets a little snappy sometimes.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go Colorado in a 28-24 victory. Colorado is favored by 1.5 points.
So even Vegas is thinking this is closer than we think.
Close, but no cigar.
And this will be 7 p.m. on Fox. Whoa, Jackson, whoa. You got to let me make my pick, good buddy. Slow down, Skipper. Slow down.
No.
Hey, Jackson. Well, we ain't the road runner here. Good grief, child. Y'all see what it's like working with Jackson? He goes too fast for my speed. He's like, okay, let's find the next game. Sheesh. And LW is in the house. Whoop, whoop. Roll Tide, LW. Even though you all are on a bye week. You're rolling the Tide on the bye week. But he said the media does overdo it. ESPN employs former football players who call football fans stupid and possibly racist because we don't agree with them that they weren't a playoff team after the TCU last year. And Trojan Blade said this might be Colorado's only game they're favored in the rest of the year. Jackson, do they play any more teams possibly worse than Baylor?
From what I've seen, they got Cincinnati on there.
Okay, they'll probably be favored in that one. It took for you guys forever to get started, and he also didn't pick the Gophers. I hope all your picks go wrong. Oh, come on, Dave. Like, come on. Why such sour grapes? Oh, man,
I'm pulling
Jackson.
for Minnesota to win this one again against Iowa.
Sour grapes. I see what happens. When it's all good in Minnesota landed, the boat's rolling. Dave's happy. But the second that boat is not rolling, it gets ugly. Dave gets upset. But it's all good, though, Dave. We still love you anyway.
Yeah, we love you, man.
Oh, gosh, Jackson. They're such divas. But anywho. But back to Baylor, Colorado. I'll go Colorado at home. I think they'll win 41-21. I think they win 41-21.
I know you do, Dave. We love to, man. You're cool, man. You are all cool.
We love everybody. But okay, Jackson, now scroll to your next game.
There we go. The CW game. Are we seeing it? CW curse on Oregon State, or does it strike Purdue?
Clint, welcome to the CW curse era, good buddy. Jackson, how many points are they favored by?
Oregon State's favored by 4.5.
Okay. The person said they're favored by double digits. I'd be careful picking that. But Jackson, Purdue's coming off a pretty bad butt whooping. I think they might be a little angry. But Oregon State, I like their offensive line. Jam Griffin, heck name for running back. McCoy. I'm gonna ride with the Beavers, Jackson. I want them to get a nice home win. I think Purdue is angry though. It will be close. I'm gonna go 27-21 Beavers. Winning Reeser.
I'm gonna go Oregon State. 24-17 against Purdue.
And then, Jackson, we have the very first edition of Big 12 After Dark. Yeah, everyone thought, oh, now the Jackson, everyone thought after the Pac-12 died, they're thinking, now we don't have to stay up until 3 a.m. Wrong, because the Big 12 says, I got you covered.
Well, we'll take it from here. Some of you guys that don't like to stay up late for some of the games, that's okay. We'll watch it for you. Let you know how it goes.
Well, we got to be up anyway, Jackson, because we gotta break down the games on our Saturday night show, the Final Whistle. I mean, people got to know this.
Exactly. They got a little bit of this.
Yeah. Now, I have to ask, Jackson, before you make your pick, I'm kind of scared for this game because Kansas State's going on the road BYU. Jackson,
and it's the week before they play Oklahoma State.
Exactly. Jackson, this could smell trouble with a capital T. I have a bad feeling about this game. This might be the one game Chris Kleiman, Jackson, how I mentioned how he just randomly drops games. This might be one of them. Although he did look good against Arizona at home, and Dave is taking the upset. Dave thinks BYU. Dave, I don't blame you. Kansas State's a 6.5-point favorite. Oh, I don't like that at all. Vegas, I don't like that at all. Oh, Jackson, are you feeling upset this game?
I'm gonna go with BYU
and off the bye too.
I think BYU.
And this is off a bye too. BYU's coming off a bye week too.
Well, they did. Well, they played Wyoming last week. They got a huge one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did. I thought they were coming off a bye week.
Nope.
SMU came off a bye week.
Yup. So I
think Side Lake or Sit Leak. How do you say that, Jackson?
Who? Sitake. Kalani Sitake.
Oh, low key on the hot seat. He was Oregon State. Oh, the BYU head coach. Okay.
That's funny, Dave. That's funny. The Garden of Eden.
Okay. But go ahead, Jackson. You're going with the upset, though. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with BYU in a 28-24 upset over Kansas State.
Jackson, this is one of them games that when I saw it, I was like, I don't blame you for picking the upset. Do I go with you? Do I put equip the big boy panties and pick the upset, or do I take the safe pick? You know what, Jackson? I'll put the big boy panties on with you. I'll go upset. BYU upsets the Wildcats 24-21.
There we go. Oh, and that is a wrap. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. No, don't let me be yawning on shows, man. That's a no.
Just for that, Jackson. Just for that, I'm cut your pay 10% for next week. Even though we're not getting paid for this yet. But I tell you
Oh
what, though,
man.
Jackson, I'll speak to your boss and see what I can get done. But speaking of your boss, Jackson, you have, well, you're your own boss, but Jackson, okay, this is a bad transition out of the way I put it, but okay. Jackson, just tell the people what you got coming up. Gosh, that was a bad transition.
Well, of course, they can find my episode of the Jacksonian, my latest one, episode 49, with Palmer Toms, the beat writer at Dodge HQ from On 3, as we go over a lot about our take on the Georgia Bulldogs going into the 2024 season and what we think about them so far and what Carson Beck is bringing in 2024. We go over a little bit about his stats. I mean, and I'll tell you right now, it was pretty fun. Plus, I have an upcoming episode with Cliff and Mac, the creators of Big Ten Team Rivalry Show and contributors to Michigan at the Voice College Football, where we had a lot of fun on episode 50 of the Jacksonian. And I'll tell you right now, it was so much fun. And I'll tell you right now,
Jackson,
huh?
I don't mean to interrupt, but we got to shout this out. LW, you're absolutely right. We need to get Jackson to 500 subs pronto. So share it out. Tell your girlfriend, tell your wife, tell your ex-fiance, tell your dog, tell your cat. If you can, shout it to the rooftop wherever you're at. Because Jackson needs 500 subs like a baby needs milk, as he says. And the faster we get Jackson there, the better. Go ahead, Jackson.
So I'm making sure I get clips out as much as possible. I appreciate the advice, Clint. And I'll tell you right now, you can check me out on YouTube, of course, at Jackson Johnson 979, where you find some of my latest episodes of the Jackson and see some of my other stuff. And you can find me on X on Jackson VOCFB and on Instagram and Threads on Jackson Johnson 543908, where I just kind of run my mouth about what's going on in college football and NFL, and I tell everybody who to check out and who to watch for. And of course, you can find me every Monday afternoon on 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for Crimson Tide Live on Alabama with the Voice of College Football. Alabama with the Voice of College Football is 88 subs away from that magic number, 2,500. I'm let's help get it there. And I can tell you right now, it's an awesome one, especially if you're looking for news and notes on the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I got one question for you, Austin. What have you got going on in the world of sports talk with Austin?
Not much really at the moment, other than just hanging out here with you. You know, on my channel, Sports Talk with Austin 2002. Find me on Twitter where I rant rave about the Cowboys. But I gotta say, Jackson, it's exciting times. You never know what's gonna be ahead. And you know, I personally want to thank everybody that's been watching us on this journey so far. Because without you guys, we're not here. This show is about you guys. We could sit here and talk college football all night long, but if you guys aren't watching, then we're just basically talking to ourselves. And no offense, Jackson, I love you to death, but we just do that over the phone. we came here to YouTube because we want other people's opinion. We don't care what fan base you represent. You could be TCU, Alabama, Michigan, SC. Heck, even if you're a Kentucky fan, love to hear your opinion. And Jackson will even agree. If you're an Auburn fan, bring your opinions. We love it all. And we thank you for watching us, and we hope you'll come back again, especially Saturday night after Baylor, Colorado, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Kansas State, BYU. We'll be back. We'll be live after those games go final. We'll probably be simulcasting Kansas State BYU, keeping a close eye on that for Final Whistle Saturday. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment, click on the notification bell so you don't miss Saturday or Wednesdays, because we'll be back again. And we'll be back next Wednesday, 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern. And we'll be back and make some more picks. And the big ones next weekend, Alabama, Georgia, Tuscaloosa. It's going to be one of the biggest games of the year. I can't wait to predict that game and talk with Jackson about it. But, Jackson, we still got week 4 ahead of us. A lot of great games. Any final thoughts?
That's about it. Probably get some Z's in just a little bit to get ready for a huge weekend of college football and to get ready for some NFL football as well.
Mm-hmm. And Jackson, LW, found your Alabama channel.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. I thank you kindly.
And with LW subscription, Jackson, you're 48 away from getting that brand new car. Whoops, I wasn't supposed to say that. He's
I'm not
getting
there
a brand
yet.
new car. So Jackson, you gonna get a Mustang when you get those subscribers?
No, I'll just probably do the same thing I've been doing before. Just keeping that money safe.
What, Jackson? You gotta spend it a little. God.
Yeah, but I'm
So
not
much to
gonna
learn,
spend too much.
Jackson.
I probably just like spend it on like family, friends, and people that have been helping me, get to where I'm going in life. So I mean that'd be the plan, really.
Lord have mercy, Jackson. Well, we'll be back with the debacle Saturday. No, in all seriousness, you guys have a wonderful night. Hopefully, no
Good
more
night.
technical
Thank you for
difficulties.
staying up with us.
Thank you. Get your coffee, get your espresso, or in the morning if you have early work travels. We apologize. We'll be more better next time. Hopefully, StreamYard's done doing the mess around. But enjoy week 4. Go Cards, everybody.
Roll Tide, everybody.